Along with new release date teases for episode 7, we were given a massive update as well as the specific type of adventure we're expecting episode 7 to be. That all started with this brand new post by the show's creator specifically made towards Halloween, with this image of Jax on a broomstick that perfectly connected to what we were recently told towards episode 7's release. That on top of it having to specifically be on a Friday in the near future based on how every previous episode of the show has been released, there was also a strange connection between October 31st specifically and the release of episode 7's sneak peek, the early 1-minute clip of the episode likely set by Glitch to come out on October 9th based on what we're told behind the scenes. But the day October 31st connects to this early release, as we saw in the past how the full episode of the show is typically set to come out around 20 days after the sneak peek is released, as obviously by the time Glitch have put in enough work towards an episode for an entire 1-minute clip to be ready to go, there wouldn't be too much left for them to do to finalize the rest of the episode making process. But in the case of episode 7, adding this 20-day release difference between the sneak peek and the episode release would land us on October 29th, a day that obviously can't be the actual release for episode 7, as again, based on the pattern shown with all the previous episodes, this new episode has to be released on a Friday. And what do you know, the closest Friday to this expected release window for episode 7 just so happens to be Halloween, October 31st, adding to the suspicion with the new post released by the show's creator. But how do we know for sure that this is the release date? Well, it turns out the show's creator ended up releasing more posts, not only confirming what we've been expecting here, but also telling us the specific direction episode 7 is meant to go in. It all started with this seemingly random post by Gooseworks reading Mummy Time, which he followed up shortly after with Mummy Farm, which continued further with a strangely formatted group of posts, which obviously didn't have a specific meaning towards the digital circus at first, as Gooseworks is no stranger to making multiple posts about things on her mind, until this strange post theme popped up again, where Gooseworks continued with these mysterious references on multiple occasions, with fans now being very suspicious towards what was going on here and if some sort of mummy adventure would connect to episode 7. But again, these strange posts on their own wouldn't be enough to tell us what to expect until there ended up being more to the story here that many people missed. You see, this actually isn't the first time Egypt has been subtly brought up towards future events in the digital circus. It turns out one of the show's main animators had also hinted towards this possibility of Egypt being important towards the show behind the scenes, as it ended up being a big part of his sort of foreshadowing video that was originally made about a special character added into the show last minute. A video that has already been perfectly predicting what we have seen and will see in the future episodes of the show, including important references and the fact that the whole point of the video ended up being canon to the actual show, as months after its release, the character that the foreshadowing video was centered around ended up being a lot more important towards the actual show, with this character known as Jeffrey popping up again during the intermission segment of episode 5, while also being included in multiple different merchandise pieces for the show that went along with a post from the official animator behind the show reading, "Jeffrey kicks off into the canon," essentially marking how important this foreshadowing video, and even the smaller little brief references in it, were meant to be a lot more important than we originally thought. And it turns out, there ended up being another reference we still haven't seen in the show yet. Part of the video where we clearly see the character from earlier, Jeffrey, involved in what appears to be Egyptian hieroglyphs, essentially calling out the same exact theme that Gooseworks mysteriously referenced shortly before the release of this next upcoming episode. But that's not all. It turns out Egypt also mysteriously connects to exactly what we've already been expecting to see in the future episodes of the show in the first place. Ribbit, as we saw for starters, how Ribbit was teased in a big way in a show completely separate from the Digital Circus. It turns out a huge Digital Circus Easter egg ended up being found in Glitch's other recently released series, The Knights of Guinevere, that not only involved a Pomni and Jax plushie stashed together in a claw machine, but also a frog seemingly placed right next to the two, as if even in Glitch's other shows, Ribbit was being set up as having a huge role in the show in the near future, which is where this theme of an Egypt-styled adventure for episode 7 comes into play here, as in ancient Egypt, along with being known as sacred and very important, frogs were associated with the idea of resurrection and the continuation of life. An idea that paints a pretty interesting picture considering Ribbit's whole story so far is being known as an abstracted character who supposedly left the circus for good a while ago. Only, there ended up being a sign left behind in the show that there was actually more to the story here. The fact that in episode 6, there was a specific scene where you were able to alter the brightness of the image to reveal a secret message connected to Ribbit, along with text on the mirror telling Jax, "Chill fella," as he was on the verge of abstraction. There ended up being 2 handprints along with a frog-shaped object. Almost like this was a sort of message Ribbit was sending to his old friend during his darkest moment from beyond the grave. Having this confusing update towards Ribbit's abstraction perfectly connects to Ribbit's symbolism in ancient Egypt, something that would perfectly relate this themed adventure to finally discovering the truth about Ribbit. As from what we've seen from the show's creator Gooseworks, this backstory into Ribbit is definitely something coming sometime soon. Again, pointing to Halloween specifically for the release of this upcoming episode, as Gooseworks' original posts were about mummies, something Halloween related that also perfectly fits together with her recent Halloween celebration post and the release window we're expecting after the official episode 7 sneak peek. But before episode 7 gets here, it turns out an even bigger discovery was just made, as a fan of the show was actually able to find what we're told to be a new Digital Circus video released on Glitch's official channel. Glitch, what do you mean the Amazing Digital Circus episode 7 is hidden right now? Is it actually coming soon or something like what? Which went along with showing us how the official Amazing Digital Circus playlist was just updated 2 days ago with another video we haven't seen yet being added to it that was just sitting there on the account privated for some reason. As if Glitch had fully finished a project that they were waiting to release soon. So what was really going on here? An update that I'm able to fully put together for you into this video right here. So for everything we know about episode 7 before its actual release, make sure to check it out.